Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube? This is Samuel Leggett, representing JVS. I'm back here again for another movie review. This is to my great excitement because there was an anime that came out around 2012. I'd only recently seen, probably like in 2018, beginning of 2018. Shout out to my man Akeem that recommended me and Joe to go and check it out. Saw the first maybe 6 or 7 episodes, and I thought it was a very promising story. I'm talking about The Kingdom. Now, this came out in 2012. Second season ended and concluded around 2013, and then the manga, which is one of the most acclaimed mangas that came out, I think 2006. It was a very interesting trade-off, because one of the things I thought about the anime when I was watching it, I was like, man, this is kind of blocky. You know, it was really, the animation style was really not as good as I really wanted it to be, but I was so enthralled by the story. I was so immersed into, you know, these two brothers in arms, so to speak, and I was kind of like taken aback, because I was like, I really hope this goes further. And now, watching this movie that is, to me, a great representation of everything that I've seen so far and anything that I want to see moving forward. So I guess that this movie, I'll say out the bat, takes place, for the most part, season 1. But it doesn't feel rushed. It feels very episodic. It feels very amazing and immersive, and they touch on all the major beats. One of the things I'll say personally, because again, I looked about the first 7 episodes, I haven't seen everything that I've seen in translation from the anime to this live action is even better, because one of the biggest draws for me was, I was like, you know, I hope this is good. But, you know, I've seen a lot of different, you know, rehashes or reemergence. I think one of the last ones I saw was Erased. There was a live action version of that, which is actually pretty good. But this one might be one of the best, because the martial arts is so on point. It's so good. Like, it really is some amazing action moments. And the way that they're able to filter it with great stunt choreography, great practical effects, and great combat makes it all the better. And the thing about this, the other trade-off for me, which is amazing to me, is that every single one of those moments that I saw in anime were hit perfectly. From the dialogue, from the emotion of the feelings, like, they don't miss a thing. And I think another credit to that would be the cast. I have to give a huge shout out to Kento Yamazaki and Ryo Yoshizawa, because the thing about Kento and Ryo is, Kento, I looked at some of his other, you know, films that he's done, and he looks completely different than he does in this. Same thing with Ryo. He looks completely different than he does. It's like they legit seem like they've immersed themselves into these characters and taken it on. I think it's saying about Kento playing the role of Zen, because Zen is the character that is so out there and just like all in his face, and just like ready to take on a fight at any moment's notice. I think that he embodies that essence of the anime character that I saw. Again, I have not read the manga. I've only seen 7 episodes of the actual anime, but everything about his performance was key to this working. But the equal measure to that, again, is because Ryo is playing the role of 2 different characters in this, and I think that he does that great trade-off as well. They really ping off each other very well chemistry driven moments, and very well directed as well. Let me get some other shout outs, because I think the Tako Ashizawa playing the role of Wang Ki, the general. Bro, when he steps onto the scene, like, his presence just dominates everything. I mean, again, I haven't read the manga, and I have not seen the part where he's in the anime, but this movie makes me want to go immediately and rush to see the anime and rush me to see the actual manga, because the representation is just so good. And I was like, the other thing about this movie that I'll say is that this is definitely the best represented anime adaptation that I think I've seen, probably since Alita the Battle Angel. Alita the Battle Angel, the story anyway wasn't that good of a story. This is a great story in translation, and I think that even though the budget isn't like super high, like, it is good enough that I was kind of like, they are at the locations they need to be. They're using the dialogue and the setting. Other thing about this, when I watched it, this is also it was English subtitles, so this is completely in Japanese, and I think that it adds to the effect of how real and visceral this actually does feel. But all around, there was some really good characters. But the premise of it, you have Zen and you have Pio. Pio and Zen are not brothers, but you know, they technically live together, and they're in a poverty-based situation, and they decide that they are going to become the greatest generals in the world. They see some interesting moment of war, and they're like, this is what we're going to do. And they decide to train, and they decide to go and, you know, cut their own teeth and do what they have to do to get to that point. And then something happens that kind of separates them, and then Zen decides on, I'm going to continue to go and maneuver this, and I'm going to continue to do this. And then eventually some tragedy does happen. And then Zen is introduced to Ying Zhang. Ying Zhang is a person that is supposed to be the king, and there's a circumstances that's happening that is keeping him from doing that. And the other thing about that, as soon as Zing sees him, he's like, you look just like my best friend. And so that's where it even gets more interesting based on the plot and how things maneuver around, and just even like the relationship of Zing with both of these men is very fascinating, to who he becomes and who we kind of rally behind ultimately, because there's a lot of interesting war elements in this one. And not just that, from a tactical standpoint, some of the battles are actually really hardcore. Like, I mean hardcore as in violent, as in like super gory sometimes. It's not like gratuitous, it's not too over the top, but I think it's just enough that you be like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you're gonna be rallying behind like what's happening. I ended up seeing this movie twice because I felt like the first time I watched it, I was super tired and I wasn't completely all the way in it, even though I enjoyed what I saw. Second time around, I enjoyed it even more, and I am gonna say, I need a second movie. Like, I want more, because what they gave me with this, give me the same exact cast, give me the same exact energy, give me the same exact director. This was directed by Shinzuke Sato. I'm trying to see what else he or she has directed. So he has directed I Am Hero, Princess. Ooh, he did direct that any let me just spell it, INUYASHIKI, which is about the boy and the old man that have I actually really want to see the anime. I haven't actually seen the anime. I've only seen like clips of it. I didn't know they made a live action version of it, but everybody told me that it's actually really good. And now that I see that he was the director of this, I see why this is so good. He actually directed the Bleach movie, and also I think a couple of the Death Note movies as well. So he's a pioneer of that translation. I think this might be his magnum opus personally, because this was directed very well, because not only was it written very well and scripted to the T of what the essence of the anime was trying to convey to me, but the settings, the visuals, the camera movements. I mean, some movements are kind of like, as far as the fighting style, like are a little, redone and regurgitated sometimes. But I get it, because this is an anime come to life. And even the transition, like there's a transition that kind of goes, and it's like, whoop, like it literally happens like a couple of times. But that would be how an anime would translate, going from episode to episode. And I think that this was done so well. I really want to see more. If you had to ask my personal opinion, I'd give this no less than a 9.5, 9 out of 10. I think this is one of the best anime adaptations that I've seen. It makes me want to go back and see the actual anime. It's a good enough movie on its own merit that you'd want to kind of like, man, this is a really good martial arts action flick. But then it seems like it's got a rich history based on the connection to the manga, connection to the anime, and just, well, how versed all these actors and cast are. Because again, I haven't even talked about all the different great characters in this. I just want to go off of what I've seen. There is a scene that I do want to bring up, where there's a scene with the mountain people, the the king, the rightful king, I should say, and one of the other generals. And when it happens, like, you'll know, because it's so epic. And the mountain person's chieftain, yo, the way that they go hard. I have so many notes, but I can't really spoil that much. Let me know if you guys want me to do a more spoiler, in-depth review on this. I'm more than willing to, because I've got literally enough notes to go over it. But yeah, let me know what you think about the movie once you watch it. Please leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that little bell button. I've got a lot more reviews coming, and you gotta go and see The Kingdom. It comes out August the 20th. If you don't get a chance to see it then, make sure you see it later. It's gonna be worth your time. Alright? Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.